Nicholas, I'm ready if you are ready, buddy.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready, baby.
You're ready? I can tell you're
I'm
fired
ready.
up. You're over there
I was
pacing
born
like
ready.
you're in the octagon, ready to go.
Yeah,
Dun,
I'm
dun.
gonna be running. People think I'm on a treadmill, but I'm just a bouncy son of
Have you
a.
seen those new things? It's a mat you can put on the floor and you can like walk in any direction.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
founded by Disney, and
Oh,
it's like the way it works. It's like supposed to vibrate and morph in a
uh,
way that it simulates movement. It's crazy,
yeah.
like
Wow.
geotiles or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching it and they were walking and every could walk, turn and walk, looked like they were going in any direction. It was really neat. So, well, cool. Well, let's get started. I know we got a lot of stuff to go over. I appreciate you
Yes,
guys
sir.
popping in the middle of the day. Today's going to be really an amazing little session. So my good buddy, you could tell from us sitting here chatting, Nicholas Nick, probably the coolest guy in the real estate business. You can tell from that awesome background. I have this dull, boring thing, and you can tell
Yeah,
he's the exciting guy living the dream down there in Florida.
trying
But
to.
yeah, just won't steal too much of his thunder, but Nicholas started working in the restaurant industry, which is, kind of goes back to, his penchant for customer service. Because if you're not giving good service there, you're just not getting paid, and that's a difficult way to go. Yeah, restaurateur. Definitely understands customer service. Went to work for one of the largest, real estate education companies. Really, one of the first ones out in Phoenix that came on the scene, and was helping just hundreds of clients and students, but really realized that there was a need for better or even just some good lead gen, right? Because lead gen is the thing that's the oxygen for our businesses, right? While we help people get your deals closed, if you don't have leads, you don't have acquisitions, you don't have disposition, you don't have anything, right? So you have to, have a good source of leads. And there are a ton of ways to get leads out there. But let me tell you, as someone who ran a really, really large wholesale company, you need good leads, right? Like the bad leads are absolutely worthless. And I've been down that road with people saying, here's some free skip tracing. And it was like, herpes for my CRM and for Twilio. It just really killed it. So, the one thing that I love about Nicholas is, I know how committed he is and making sure that the leads that are coming into you are going to be just, the highest possible quality. And I'm not going to steal too much more, man. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
really appreciate it. It's always good to be on. I got lucky, like you said early on. I restaurants really taught me how to work hard,
Mhm.
and then they really taught me a lot about human behavior and customer interactions. And like I'm really kind of like a customer experience expert, right? Is
Yeah.
really like if you think 13 years serving people in restaurants, you become an expert at serving others, right? You can't
Mhm.
help it. Your whole business, like are the bathrooms clean? Like every inch of that building matters. So I really just took that fundamental and I applied it to lead generation. And no offense to any of my competitors, but lead generation is very easy for me to do. My
Mhm.
customers are extremely happy. I think I get off the phone with customers and I'm like, there's no way anyone has happier clients. And like, not even that they're happier as before, after they buy, they're happy before they buy. They're happy people in general, right?
Yeah.
It's not even that I'm making them happy. And I just love that. I think happiness and happy people is really one of the biggest indicators for success. So it's kind of been cool.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Cool. Um, yeah, man. I mean, so, let's talk more about lead mining pros and kind of all the
Okay.
stuff that you guys do.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, so what I've got here is I founded this lead generation company about 7 years ago. And it's definitely been a blessing to me and others. We specialize in all forms of real estate, whether it's houses or land or you're a realtor.
Mhm.
We do find sellers for sure. Now, what we offer that makes us unique is we are a cold calling company, but we're a little bit different. One, we actually offer American cold callers. That's a huge differentiator.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean expatriates living in Mexico with the light accent. That's not what I'm talking about. My entire American team is guaranteed to live on American soil over here with us, and they do an amazing job as a result of that. Also, Americans have a sense of perfection to them, right? That a lot of other cultures don't have. And so it's like, the Americans are actually pushed and trained and they're climbing, they're trying to get better every day. The foreign caller, he shows up, he reads the script, but that's about it. The other thing we've learned that makes it a differentiator is scam culture is really prevalent in today's world. You
Yeah,
know,
and we found the same thing even with TCs, right? You know, if you're calling Mrs. Smith in West Virginia and saying, "I need your social security number and your wiring instructions," your deal's pretty much done. And same
right,
thing too, you know, we had tried different companies in the past, and you know, is it a thatch roof or a tin roof?
right,
You know,
right. Yeah,
just the cultures are so different. Sometimes they don't understand.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And you're really right. And I think when people hear a foreigner now, everyone's being hit by foreign people on Facebook asking them for money all the time.
Mhm.
And I think that Americans, our guard is up now more than ever. So
Right.
we've seen a drastic drop. We even offer foreign callers, and we see the disparity in the two leads results.
Really?
And our foreign callers don't even have thick act. They sound good. You might not even know, but it's still not American. Like we're just in that mode. And so that's the one thing that we've noticed. So what we offer in a nutshell is we can pull this in any market in America. Okay, land, houses, you name it. I've got data tree for land, and then I've got core logic for houses.
Mhm.
Then we also offer skip tracing. Our skip tracing is incredibly accurate, and it's only 7 cents per search, and it only gets cheaper the more you buy. We get
Wow.
the right person on the phone over 85% of the time, and
Dude,
we can
that's
prove
unheard
that
of.
to you. Yeah, no, it's awesome. And we track that on every campaign too.
Mhm.
So it's not just like, oh, this is what some clients see. We track every campaign and how many people answer and how many people. Right? That's how we indicate accuracy rate,
Oh,
just
wow.
so everybody knows. So we can also prove that to you, each person individually on their campaign, what the
Mhm.
accuracy rate was.
Nice.
Then we put on the American callers. The American callers call everyone up to 3 times if they don't answer. And if they do answer, we ask them if they own the property and ever considered selling before. If they have considered selling, we then ask them 12 questions on the cold
Wow.
call about the property, and then we send our clients the leads as soon as we hang up the phone.
Really? So like what are
Yeah,
the like I don't want all of them, but like what are some of
yeah,
the
I
big
can
questions you
rattle
have?
some off. We're
Sure.
7 years in bit. Yeah, any general repairs needed on the roof? How old? Any general repairs needed? How old's the roof? When's the last time it was remodeled? Are there any tenants in the property? What's your reason for selling? Is there a mortgage on the property? When's your timeline to sell? Are you, um, how much do you want for the property? And then this great question Ron LeGrand gave us, which is, are you open to receiving that amount in monthly payments? Um,
Really?
yeah, very
Love it.
tricky owner finance question.
Yeah.
Because like if it's a high number, are you down for monthly payments? So we ask that
Yeah.
to every lead. We ask them the best time for you to call back, if
Nice.
there's an email address for them, and then that you'll be reaching out in the next 24 hours is
Nice.
basically the question part. So we ask all that if they let us, right? Not
Yeah.
everyone we don't
Sure.
get that far with everybody. Um, then we text message everybody as well. And we text blast them. And then my team replies to those texts for you. You don't do anything except get the yes lead and the entire transcript on the
Wow.
text message. Um,
So
that,
how
good.
is the texting going right now? Is that challenging?
No, no, I'm
Really?
I'm very fortunate. And I actually got A2P 10 DLC verified like 2.5 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and not through Twilio.
Yeah.
Twilio is really the big regulator. Anyone, um, anyone who is, I mute my stuff here. Um, Anybody who is really struggling is most likely dealing with Twilio right now.
Yeah.
And so what happens is Twilio is so big, they're being regulated. But there's other companies really out there that aren't, at least not so heavily.
Right.
Mine, I got grandfathered in 2.5 years ago. I don't have to put a reply stop to opt out. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And I
Wow.
also can put the address in the text. And it looks like it's coming from a real person. And, I go
Mhm.
through all the responses, and you'd be surprised how nice these people are. No, thank you. No.
Mhm.
And what that means is they think they're not being mass marketed to. That's what's
Right.
important.
Or
When
you're
your
getting people
stuff,
that are not being mass marketed to. Your list is that much better.
yeah, well, and not just that, but what I mean is the way the text is worded, it
Yeah.
doesn't say when someone gets a text and says reply stop to opt out,
Right.
they know that 50,000 other people have gotten that text message,
Sure.
right? And so they often show up more negatively on text. So it's been really good. Then I think one of the big differentiators too is at the end of every week, I invite all of my clients to book a one-on-one call with me. So
Mhm.
on Friday, they all get a link to meet with me, and I cover their entire KPIs with them. And if they have a lot of leads, I coach them on improving their acquisition process. And if they don't have a lot of leads, I coach them on changes we're going to make on their campaign to improve their
Yeah.
results, or changes I generally recommend. So that's really what I offer in a nutshell. So it's like a guided lead generation experience.
Mhm.
And then it's the last thing just before I shut up and I'll get it all out is that's no contracts, no commitments, no setup fees, and everything is only
Yeah.
pay as you go. So there's no
Right.
like, oh, I'm stuck with this guy. So yeah, so it's pretty cool.
I love that, you jump on the phone and help them with their processes, because that was something that I didn't intend that we would have to do with our transactions company, but we're as invested in you as you are in your company, right? Because we want you to succeed. So that's
Yeah,
definitely
I love
something
that.
that we've started. We just have a client success manager, and that's all she does is that type of
Yeah.
stuff. So I think that's fantastic. And that's what sets you guys apart, and that's why you're growing just so
Well, yeah.
fast.
Well, when you meet with people, especially me being the owner, it's like I have all the knowledge. I meet with every client. So
You
it's
do.
like, you know, it's really nice because I've noticed that there's no frustrated clients.
Yeah.
And that when that's the case, they're all very nice. Oh, thank God you're here. One guy was like, Nick, I love these. He has bad results. Nick, I
Mhm.
love these strategy sessions, dude. This is
Yeah.
so great. And it's like, I don't even realize that I'm making up for inferior results sometimes,
Right.
So it's
Well,
cool.
yeah, and it's so hard. The thing that none of us were ever told when we started this business was like how many moving parts there are in a business,
Right.
right? Rich Dad Poor Dad did not tell me that I was gonna have to figure out cold calling or what a monumental title is, right? Like
Right.
just
Yeah.
go talk to people and then sell your deal. You're gonna make $1 million.
Mhm.
And in reality, you can do that on a very, very small scale, but just to turn it into at least a job, right? Like not even a
Right.
business, but a job, right? Like somebody's got to do all these things, and there's just only so many hours of the day, and you're not great at everything. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like I was far better at dispo than acquisitions. You're probably way better at acquisitions than anything else.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And and I think that that's why I created this company. Because I was a part of two really big coaching companies,
Mhm.
I saw every person gets lost in the lead gen. Do I get one VA? Or do I buy a VA? And I'm like, no, we're not a
Yeah,
VA company. We're a
yeah,
complete system. You
yeah,
get me, you get all of my cold callers. My cold callers, they all work. And what the way that benefits people is if you hire me, you're going to get one of my 12 Americans, it might even three of my 12 Americans calling
yeah,
for you. And the reason why that's a benefit is one of them is going to be from Alabama, one of my
right,
employees. One of them's going to be from Florida. One's going to be a woman. One's going to be a man. And each
yeah,
person hits people all differently.
sure,
So it's like, the variety, the system I've created is like maximized for efficiency and for results. And you don't have to worry about any of that. Like, what script are they going to use? What dialer am I going to use? I mean, if anyone's ever set up a dialer at all, it's like that alone is a
oh,
nightmare. With us, you just pay, you tell us the city and the state, and then
mhm,
you work the hot leads,
yeah,
you know. But what I will say to people is your next version of so like the first problem is, where do I get leads? Well, I introduce you to your next problem. What are you going to do with the leads?
yeah, yeah. And I
You
think you're
know?
right. I think you just feel like you're drowning sometimes. Even me, like I'm very experienced. And when we were running our nationwide wholesaling company, it's like every day is like a new problem. What city, what state, what list, my God,
Right,
what am I targeting today? Right. And every day
right.
I felt like I was making that same decision just over and over and over again.
And that's what I do. And that's why like one of my slogans that I need to put in the forefront more is like, I'm like your marketing executive, right?
Yeah.
You don't deal with the cold callers, the managers, or anything. You deal with me, and that's it. And then I deal with my team. And I think that
Yeah.
that's the big, anyone who's ever had a 10-minute conversation with their virtual assistant in the Philippines know it's like, are you even understanding me? Are you just saying yes
You're right.
because you found that Americans like the word yes more than no? It's like, are you, really though?
Yes,
It's like,
boss. Yes, boss. That's what I
yeah,
go with.
right.
Yes,
Yeah.
boss.
Huh? Like you keep saying yes, but when we hang up, you're doing the same shit I told you
Yeah.
not to do. So, And that's one of the beauties of us too, is like, it's really like a managed operation as
Yeah.
well. And no, this has been a cool talk, and this helps me remember some marketing points, because I'm so in the weeds of leads that I
Right.
really forget. Like, my goal is just to get you the most leads for the least investment, period.
Yeah. And
Um,
I, we're definitely moving towards that, right? Where there's more done for you in your business, right? Done for you leads, done for you closings. You can even choose to do your own acquisitions and then have somebody else JV your dispo stuff, right?
right.
So,
Yeah.
we're trying to find ways to simplify your business down to its lowest common denominator, and keep you in the business of doing the things that you love to do. Because clearly, no, first off, let's be real, nobody's going to talk to a seller better than you because it's your company, right? So nobody, we were talking about this earlier, nobody cares more about your business than you. However, cold calling absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
We actually, I think I've told you, we had a little cold calling center here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I had like 12 or 15 of them, and
Mm,
man, I was paying them a lot of money. Even back then it was like $15 an hour, and it's
adds up.
miserable. Like
Yeah.
like it's very hard to find people that like to do that kind of business. I mean, and I've done it a couple times and I don't like it. Like,
It's
does
the
not
worst.
jazz me up at all.
No, it's the worst. You're signing up to get your ass chewed out.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and that's why I have some systems in place. All my employees work from home. I'll give you guys a couple of my secrets. All my employees work from home. All my employees create their own schedule, like Uber.
Mhm.
Okay,
Wow.
think about it. Uber wouldn't be around today if they had Uber bosses. Hey, Joey, you were supposed to
Joey.
clock in and work the airport from 7 to
Yeah.
3. What
Yeah.
happened? That guy's quitting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What makes Uber work is you decide when you drive. And it's because Uber kind of sucks too. So it's
Yeah.
like, when you take these things that suck and you put them into an environment, all of a sudden they start working.
Yeah.
So my employees, I will say this, it takes me 5 hires to get 1 employee.
That's about right. From talking to guys like Steve Richards and stuff, that's
Yeah.
that's the number, right? It just
Yeah.
takes
And as
in
long as
across
you
all
know your
businesses.
numbers, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And as long as you know your numbers, I'm like, great, we're going to hire 5, get 1. Great. Boom, we get 10, we get 2.
Right.
It's like, you just, when you know the math, it's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
And I don't want, what I tell people, because sometimes I hire friends and I'm like, look, if you don't like it, quit right away.
Yeah.
Like, you don't owe me shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna owe me if you keep working and you hate it, because then your
Yeah.
results are gonna suck and I'm gonna have to fire you. I'd rather have you quit right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it kind of, again, what I've offer is it's convertible. You make your own schedule. So if you don't show
Mhm.
up, no one's
Yeah.
hurt, you
Yeah.
know?
I always tell people the worst parts of the job when I'm interviewing them. Let me tell you all the worst things. I want to try to talk you out of this.
Paint the ugliest. Yeah. So I used to, when I ran a restaurant, I remember regulars would always walk up and
Mhm.
be like, I want my son Joey to work here. He would love it. And I'm like, dude, we got racism in the back. Okay. People are screaming at him. He's going to get beaten up.
Yeah. He's gonna get
It's
beaten
like,
up.
the women here are very tough.
Yeah.
Restaurants are like construction sites, you
Really?
know? Yeah, oh
I've
God,
never
they
never
are.
worked in a restaurant.
No, I'm not complaining. They are my
Yeah.
happy place. But
Yeah.
there's so much stuff going on. And so I asked my manager, I said, how do you handle that? He goes, you know what I do is I paint the worst picture to the regular. And I'm like, look, if your son's okay with working late and showing up early and getting real dirty and dealing with angry customers, and it's like, we're trying to get, like, you, to your point, we're getting them out of the fantasy of,
Mhm.
whatever this is.
Wow. 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 So tell me a couple things. Like, what is, for your clients, what is something that really, makes a successful client?
You know, I feel like 2 things make a successful client, and they're simple things, and that is positivity.
Right.
Okay. I can tell you, every time a negative client calls, I mean, on the sales call, skeptical. And I understand skeptical. You got burned before.
Yeah.
But get me on the phone, talk to me for an hour. Let's chat. Let's kind of brush that away. But like, really pessimistic people, angry people, you can tell when, because all my clients are so happy, I can tell when they're not,
Right.
right? So unhappiness is definitely a sign of not going in the right direction. So when I find an optimist, I know that they are.
Mhm.
So that's one. The other thing is persistence.
Yeah.
I had an employee, um, I had a customer get 15 leads and get
Mhm.
5 contracts and close 3 deals.
Wow.
Okay. On $1,000 purchase.
Mhm.
And I was like, bro, tell me your secret, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me, just, do you have this like crazy CRM that's like fucking awesome? Like what's going on? And he's
Mhm.
like, Nick, I'm calling these motherfuckers. That's what's going on. And
Yeah.
he's like, and this has to work.
Yeah.
That's what he said to me. He's like, I got no CRM. I'm printing the leads, printing them out on a piece of paper.
Mhm.
And he's like, I'm calling them until they answer.
Yeah.
So, that answer is persistence,
Yeah.
right? I think that we get follow up confused with persistence. I feel like follow up is something we expect a CRM to do and that we don't have to do. And I think the real word is persistence that actually gets people to lead. So, yeah, great attitude and persistence absolutely makes a successful client. You don't need crazy systems,
Yeah.
especially if you hire us, we offer courses and free coaching.
Yeah.
And I explain it to you so simply that you can do it in like 30 minutes a day.
Right.
As long as we're doing the lead gen, if you're going out and getting your own leads, it's definitely more than 30 minutes a day. But if I'm
Yeah.
sending you hot leads, I
Mhm.
can teach you what to do in just 30 minutes a day, every day to get
Yeah.
traction in your business,
Yeah. So yeah, 100% calling those leads as fast as they come in.
Right.
Right. Like
Yeah.
that's the easiest thing to do. Like just do that and you're 50% better than most people out there.
And another thing that I'll just chat about leads real quick that came up is this woman's like, I can't get anybody on the phone. And I'm
Mm.
like, that's an amazing sign. Because here's what we forget. If they're tough to get a hold of, how many other wholesalers quit
Give
following
up.
up?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and if they're tough to get a hold with, that's a good sign that they're distressed. And
Yeah.
guess what? Only distressed people sell their house at 50 cents on the dollar. Okay. People that
Yeah.
are in abundance aren't giving away houses for half off.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
You
That's
know,
that's a great way of
so
looking at it, man.
yeah, well, that's my attitude. And the other point is they don't call enough, which is I think what you were getting at in the
Yeah.
beginning. I tell every client, you call every lead 6 times. And then you call, you leave a voicemail, and you text them. Hey, I was just calling
Yeah.
because I got, my partner said you wanted to sell. Give me a call
Mhm.
back, click. It's like every touch should be 3 touches, call, voicemail, text. And you should
Yeah.
do that 6 times before you ever give up on a lead, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, 100%. Even one time when we were running our cold call center, I pulled a couple of them aside for those types of leads, a couple of girls, and I'm like, I said, I just want you to tell me, have you ever, these were girls, have you ever tracked down your ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend? Every one of them raised their hand. I'm like, that's what I want. If they won't answer the phone, go find them someplace. I don't care if
Right.
it's Twitter, Instagram, look them up online, people search them, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Go if they're not answering the way we've got, go find them someplace else
Yeah. Right. If they're
because
on this list, they're good.
they have raised their hand and said that they wanted to
Mm,
close or wanted to sell. And they're not lying. So
I
I
love
guess
that.
I mean the opposite of that is the customers who struggle because we've all got customers who struggle. Sometimes they just don't want to listen. They want to reinvent the wheel. Like
Right.
what do you see over there on that side with the reason for people who fail in the
Uh,
business?
I love it. I love it. Reinvent the wheel. What a stupid thing to do.
Dude,
Um,
it's so prevalent now. I don't understand. Everybody wants to like build a better mousetrap. I'm like, bro,
yeah.
we buy houses has been tested for 50 years. It works,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and like my script, I have people, recently be like, why don't you put in there that let them know that we sent them mail and we're following up. Now, look, I understand that sounds like a great idea. Like that
Who gives a shit?
logically,
Yeah.
yeah, right. That's right. That's right.
Who gives a shit?
Logically, I get it. But we sent them
Yeah.
mail. I spent money on it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Well, since we've been around for 7 years, guess what? I've tried everything.
Yeah.
So you call up and you go, "Hey, I sent you a piece of mail." Well, I'll check my mail and call you if I'm interested. Click every
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
You'd be
You're
surprised.
opening yourself up to be told go fuck yourself.
That's exactly right. And then not just that, but on the other side, it's what the fuck? You're sending me mail. Now you're calling me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Stalker.
give me a
Crazy.
break, right? Yeah, it's like, it doesn't do what we think it's going to do. But
Right.
other people, I remember one guy, he was a realtor from New Jersey. Like, you tell them that Joey from Jersey wants to sell that. And I'm like, they don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, and that's not like an offensive thing, but your name will never convince somebody to sell ever.
No, no, that's what people want to change. We buy houses to Penelope buys houses.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what? No, they don't care.
Yeah, it
Their
doesn't
problem
matter.
is their problem, right?
This is not a brand. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's important. I'm sorry, real estate is not a brand.
No.
Okay. Your name, Intel, carries weight. We know that Intel makes incredible chips for
Right.
computers, and that gives us confidence.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with real estate. I want to sell, I sell. I never want to think about that house again.
Yep.
Okay. That's not anything and I think that's a lot of people, they get lost in the sauce
Hmm.
with trying to put their stamp on it. And so a lot of
It's
people,
some ego. I think there's some ego
yeah.
in there, right?
Well, we want to trailblaze. Everybody
Sure.
wants their little, you know, I'm special because I added this line into the script, right? Like this line. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
you're special because you are persistent
Yeah.
and you're eager and you follow a process.
Yeah.
That's why you're special.
Yeah. I don't know. And same with you. We know all the biggest wholesalers in the country. Like none of them give a shit about any of that. I just want to help
Right.
people. I want to
That,
close
that,
deals.
that,
I want to put money in my account. That's what I
yeah.
want to do. What's the
Yeah.
fastest way to do that?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. A lot of people, they want to, and what they're doing, and I call customers out. I'm very polite. I call customers out on it. I had this one woman hire me, and she's like, your script isn't good. And I was like, hey, just so you know, um, we used the script for 55,000 other dials this week.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've been using it for the last 6 years. And I think you should be worried about what you're saying to the leads more than what we're saying to the leads right now.
Yeah.
And it's different. Like, I'm not a VA company. So it's like, I'm like a proven professional system that's been
Yeah.
open for 7 years. And some customers, it's like, I think what happens is, if we were to break it down, I think they think they're my first customer ever, like, kind of.
Oh, we get that too, man. Every so
Yeah.
often. It's
I remember I told
yeah.
this woman, I just want to let you know that we're not experimenting on you. Is what I said to her.
I might write that down. We're not experimenting on you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And we actually had an amazing conversation, this woman and I. And in the end, I said, why did you hire us? And she goes, I hired you because I didn't want to think about this whole process
Yeah.
anymore. I said, so let me get this straight. You hired me because you want to think about it. And then you immediately started thinking about it. And then you started telling us all the things you think we were doing wrong. And I was like, I said, if I was to guess, you got burned in the past. And
Yeah.
she was like, oh my God, that's exactly. And she actually apologized to me. And not that I need the apology, but it's to
Right.
realize that focus on the hot leads I'm going to send you.
Right.
And if we don't get hot leads, feel free to fillet me,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, focus on the hot leads that I sent you. That's a way better use of your time than auditing. You could ask me, why, hey, why do you use that script? I love that question. Hey, why
Yeah.
do you say it like that? I love that question. There's a
Right.
big difference between that is, I don't think you should be saying that in the message, so it's
Yeah.
kind of it's kind of those kind of energy sometimes.
To kind of reflect back again, my wholesale business, this business, the rental business, all the businesses that I have, um, I realized one thing after 22 years, and that's simple is scalable, right? The simpler we keep this, right? It's not rocket science. I literally have an old torn off piece of loose leaf pinned to my wall, and it says, this is a simple business. It's people that make it complicated, right?
Right.
We're just helping people who are in distress, right? And if I try to hire a bunch of people and it's like the employee manual is like a 3-inch calculus book, like they're not going to do it, right?
Right.
I want
That's
something
right.
that's easy and repeatable that I can put on a person and they can just continuously generate leads over and over and over,
Yeah.
or whatever part of the business that they're in. So, I love what you're doing, and that again, you keep it very simple, but you do it at an incredibly high level. That's just proven time and time again, year
Right.
after year, client after client.
Well, people, they say to me, they say, why are I see how many leads you get. Why are
Hmm.
you getting 10 times more than
Yeah.
other people? And I'm like, I make sure they follow the script.
Yeah.
It's like, so one thing that a lot of people don't know is I was our first cold caller for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have like a bunch of, remember, I spoke a lot about human behavior and restaurants, all this other stuff. So I had a couple of sayings when I was teaching myself to cold call that was never say the same thing more than 5 times straight. So every
Mm,
time I would try something, I would say it. I would 5 times one way, 5 times another way, 5 times another way, 5 times another way. And I'm real scientific in the sense of hypothesis and evaluation and conclusions,
mhm,
right? So I found these phrases over time and being so playful with my language that like really worked. So I'll give you one example that I created that was super ninja. So a lot of people say no, they're not interested in selling. Okay. All right, great. Yeah, not a problem. Would you maybe mind taking down my direct phone number and just give me a call if anything ever changes? So when
mhm.
you say maybe mind, there's
Yeah.
literally no way for them to tell you no. Yes, I mind. Yes, I will. No, I don't mind. No, I
Yeah.
mind. Like they, no matter what, you kind of have them in this weird word
Box.
trap. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most people, because their brains, and I'm really polite, I'm respectful as hell. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
hard to say no to, right? And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, hey, if you'll just put real estate and like stick it on the fridge, right? That would be all. My name's Nicholas, bam. So like I would guide them through that whole process. And I got people to say yes over 50% of the time by saying it that way. And I noticed it so fast. So that was an example. So this script isn't like, and I think a lot of people, they haven't done what I've done. I built this business. I'm like you,
Yeah.
you created this for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
100%.
and it's
Yeah.
like
And I'm a dick. Like I mean, I'm an asshole. Like it
right.
was made to work right. You
Well,
know?
yeah, well, that's right. I always say, I use harsher language, but I'm like, look, I- I'm such an MFer that
Yeah.
if I can, I'm a tough customer to have, right?
Yeah.
I'll definitely own that. But my system would pass my test,
Right.
and that's kind of why we have great businesses, is because
Mhm.
we take our laser focus and we point it
Yeah.
at ourselves in a sense. But no, it's definitely been an interesting journey, and I think what I've created now is so foolproof. There's no issues, there's no angry
Mhm.
customers because I offer an onboarding course. People hire me. I
Yeah.
tell them it's like a 45-minute course where they don't always know, but I'm like resetting their brain and I'm
Right.
introducing optimism. And I
Mhm.
and I even tell all my clients exactly what to say and exactly what to do. I've been open for 7 years. Do not reinvent the wheel on
Yeah.
on calling these leads back. There's literally one way. I mean, there's probably 1,000 ways to do it, but there's one way to definitely do it, and,
Right.
and
Right.
that's the way that I teach.
Yeah, it's been proven to work just time and time and time
Right.
again. And
Exactly.
again, the people with the reinvent the wheel, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would pay somebody so much money to learn something and then go out and either not do it or try to do 50% of it or,
Well, yeah,
there isn't
I
good.
no, I've got a little short, great story for that. So when I worked at that education company for real
Yeah.
estate, we had a customer who just signed up the day before, and he called me up yelling at me. He said, my mentor told me to call people on Craigslist. I did not pay you guys to call people on Craigslist. I said, hey, hold on, hold on, hold on. I said, didn't you pay us to teach you how to invest in real estate? He goes, yeah. I said, so just to be clear, the very first thing we asked you to do, you said you're not going to do it, but you just paid us to teach you, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like people, they don't even realize that they like
Yeah.
like to your point, that they just don't do it. And then,
Right.
that actually worked. He was like, oh crap. It's like, yeah, like, hey, we're not telling you to call Craigslist people in 3 months. You're on day
Yeah.
one, bro.
Yeah.
Get your sea
You need the
legs
reps.
underneath you.
Get some
Yeah,
reps, man.
right.
I
Exactly.
love that too. And somebody, people, same thing with our business or something. Or, when I was teaching Dispo, well, that's dumb and simple. I'm like, yeah, dude, fucking simple works. Problem is
Yeah.
most people don't do it, right? You need
Right.
me to tell you, like, I've taken all the extraneous shit out of here. This is what you
Mm,
do. This is, yeah,
wow.
nothing any of us is ever going to tell you. You're going to be like, oh my God, the clouds parted and the sun came down, from the heavens and gave me this. It's all normal stuff.
Well,
you
and
know?
I actually like that. I think that's a good marketing approach too. It's like you're paying for the simplicity,
Yeah.
and I do the same thing. I went to go get my car worked on. Yeah, and we've all done this. This is like a bad sales tactic, right?
Mhm.
I went to go get my car worked on. And it had FRP or it had PRP, something on the outside, like a
Yeah.
clear shell. Okay. And I bring it to this rapper, and this guy goes, "Oh man, we're gonna have to peel this stuff off. We're gonna have to scrape the glue off." And he's like, "It's gonna be way more." And I'm stressing. I'm like, "Fuck, he's making this shit sound hard. Like
Yeah.
this doesn't sound
Then he
simple
goes,
at
it's
all."
going to be $200 more. And you're like,
Yeah. And then I go to another guy, and
mhm.
I go, and he's like, "Yeah, we got you, Bing Man. We're gonna get this." And I go, "What about this thing?" He goes, "We're gonna fucking put it right over it." And
Yeah.
I was like, "You're my guy." Okay. Like this guy's my guy.
Yeah.
Right. Because the truth is, if you make it difficult,
Yeah. It will be
you
difficult.
shouldn't hire that person. Anyone who makes it sound not simple.
Mhm.
And so that's actually the marketing lesson. Like the simplicity is the wisdom.
It's the magic. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
And
I
that's one
love
thing
that.
we're always careful of in our business. I'm sure you are too, is never overcomplicating shit. Like
Mhm.
everybody wants to like, how do we fix this? And then there's this whole new, we're going to add these 20 steps. I'm like, nope, cannot do that. Because then
Yeah.
you do that 5 times. Now there's an extra 100 steps and now nobody can get anything done.
No, I love that. And I just made a mindset tip, that I normally make on Facebook
Oh, I love those. So you guys should
simplicity
definitely
is
be
the,
following him on Facebook too. Just
I'll
dropping
put that in the
gems.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some are very like, whimsical and wisdomy, and then other ones are just like cut you to the fucking bone.
Yeah, I do. I'll tell you what, my best ones are ones with no likes on
Yeah.
it. And it's because they're real. And
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I know you're doing this shit. And the way I word them, I like the mindset tips. They're actually like a puzzle because it's not easy to actually have a thought
Right.
and communicate it clearly and generally to the masses without offending people, right? So I find it as like a puzzle every day, and every mindset tip I have comes out of a conversation I just had. So
Right.
they're not like pre-planned or queued up or anything. I'm
Yeah.
like, I have a crazy ass talk, and I'm like, oh my god,
That's
uh,
great.
and I have to do it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna put my Facebook in here for
Yeah.
everyone to click on as well. I'm a big Facebooker. I'm not really big on Instagram. So feel free to engage with
Dude,
me
how
on
are
it.
you not on Instagram? You crush it over there.
Dude, Instagram is I'm not a bragger. I'm not
I know
Instagram.
I'm not on there bragging, but we're just talking about the stuff we do every day.
Yeah, Instagram's not my jam. I feel
Yeah.
like to really do it, um, I would never use it for, I'll be honest with you, bro. I've had 4 customers my entire life come off of Instagram. So the
Yeah.
one thing is the universe hasn't shown me to give it attention. But
Yeah.
the other part is like, as a personal user, it's like I'm not into like the stories and the
Hmm.
showing people what I'm doing. Like I'm kind of like live my life and share my wisdom on
Yeah.
on the platforms, not really like share my activities. I feel like Instagram is more pushed to like that Ed TV movie where you just like
Yeah.
you just film your shit all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't
Oh,
come naturally to me.
it can be a pain in the ass, believe
Yeah.
me. It can definitely be a pain. So, well, cool, man. I know I've held you here kind of a long time, but so what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? I mean, I know you said Facebook, just, Facebook or go to your
Website,
website. Like,
yeah, my cell phone number even.
oh
I'll
my
put that
gosh,
in
you
the
give out
chat
your
too.
cell phone number. That's incredible.
Yeah, hey, every time it rings, we're making money,
I
baby.
know, man. I know.
Every,
I know.
I'll tell you, it's a beautiful thing. And plus, I've got a general manager now, and he sometimes answers
Hmm.
when I don't. But no, it's been great, dude. But yeah, you guys can cell phone, website. On my website, there's a chance to book a call with me if you're not
Yeah.
available right away. You don't have to buy anything to book a call with me. Meet me, learn about me. Um, I love meeting because I was a restaurant manager. I really want to meet all of
Yeah.
my clients or all of my potential. I'm not scared of talking to people.
Hmm. Sure.
So feel free to anyone to give me a call or give me a shout.
Nice, man. Thank you so much for popping on today. I know everybody
Yeah,
got just a
thank you.
ton of value on it, and we'll send this out to everybody. But man, again, thank you. You are one of the coolest realest dudes in real estate, and I really
Thank you, bro.
appreciate your friendship and coming on today and doing all this for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, David. I appreciate you, brother. I'll see
All
you
right, man.
soon.
I'll talk to you soon.